Well, good day, my friends. We are in Jasper, Alabama, and we are here today to see if Netflix killed this dying mall or if them making a documentary about it actually brought it back to life. Daze with Jordan the Lion and you all. It begins right now. The good thing is that it's still open. 3 years later, it's still open. Yes, my friends, if you saw the sign, you saw Jasper Mall, and if you're a Netflix fan, you probably remember this documentary on the dying situation of the Jasper Mall. Pretty much all malls, but they just kind of focus on this one. And it's kind of interesting because you'd think that with it being featured in Netflix that it would get a little bit of a boost, but it's pretty dead. If you've never seen it, it's literally called Jasper Mall. It's on YouTube, but it was a Netflix special. Let's see what it looks like inside these days. I do see the Armed Forces Career Center sign still up there, and this is in the documentary when a couple of people are trying to enlist and the recruiter is running them through drills, actually running them right out front. And the girl's doing pretty good, but the guy's really having some trouble. He's really struggling. Before we go in, it does look like the Lynn Garden's still open, so if you're in the mood for Chinese food, you can always get this. It looks like they're open every day. So one last thing before we go in, I wanted to mention that part of the reason I really want to come here is not that I am excited to see a dying mall. It's the guy that kind of helps keep it alive. In the documentary, they show this guy Mike, who is the security guard. He's not your Paul Blart security guard. He's a guy who really cares. He cleans up around here, makes sure everybody's having a good time, and goes out of his way to try and get stores to come and join, be part of the mall. And he just seemed like an interesting guy. And I had read that somebody came here, you know, a couple of years after the documentary, which I think was just a couple months ago, and that he was still here. So I'm hoping we'll get to meet Mike. I feel like I'm in the documentary now. These are the doors he opens every morning in the documentary. Let the mall walkers in. This is kind of surreal to be in here. Let's see what the state of this place is. In the documentary, you see a lot of the mall walkers hanging out right here and him welcoming them in the morning. And then kind of the next thing you see, well, it looks like they do have a couple of stores here. Wild Pansy, kind of a novelty clothing store. And they show all the mall walkers in here with a mic, and they're all doing the Pledge of Allegiance to start the day with that flag. I love this, the layout of the mall and stuff. I can already tell this looks like this used to be their movie theater. But this old brick style, this is the mall that I grew up in Ohio. Our malls were like this, so coming in here and, oh man, this is sad. In the documentary, they only have 2 eateries in this whole place. A sub shop, which this might have been the sub shop. They have a sub shop, and then they had, yeah, I think this was Grady's sub shop. That was already out of business when they were filming it. He was actually saying they moved out earlier that week. And then there was also a Subway, which we'll see if we can find where that was. The old Subway was closing the day that they were filming it. So there's a coffee bar, GNC. Also, I'd like to see if this must have been Robin's over here, this Good Deeds, when they're filming the documentary. They show a lot of people here playing dominoes, a bunch of older men in this section playing dominoes. And at the end of the documentary, Mike says that the guy that they had shown earlier in it with the oxygen tank had passed away, and so the Domino's guys were had taken some time off from coming. They didn't feel right. But it follows this woman also here. She had a store here called the Robin's Nest, and she would do kind of bridal flowers and floristry and things like that. And she was here for 25 years. And at the end of the documentary, she is closing her doors and retiring. So it was sad. It was all full beginning of the documentary. She's got a sign up here that would have said Robin's Nest, and then at the end she's cleaning the whole place out, and she's got her neon sign over here on the side. Pretty sad. God, it just feels like an old mall, doesn't it? Nobody in sight. Here's Belk is still here. But they used to have a Penny's, and the Penny's is gone. JC Penney. So it looks like Belk is still going strong. Here's the children's side. You know, it's crazy. Really the only thing that malls are good for now, it seems like, are mall walkers. But at one time, this was a social gathering spot. You wanted to get out of your house. You wanted to go buy an outfit that made you look like an avocado. Belk's looks good. It's completely fully furnished apartment store. No skimming anything. They got all the products. Everything's filled. There's a guy in here that had a jewelry store, and we'll see if we can locate where that was. The jewelry doctor. He's still in town. But he's saying then that he used to come to this mall when he was a kid and a teenager and used to meet girls here. And he said this mall was packed. They used to have fashion shows and events all the time, celebrities, soap opera stars, all that stuff. And now the place is just completely dead, other than like a shoe store, because people don't want to leave their house and they want to order things online, and they don't want to get together with their friends and socialize and walk around. So now it's just basically mall walker paradise, if it's even that. Hopefully while we're here, I'm gonna roam around for a while. Hopefully while we're here we'll get to find Mike. I would assume he'll be here. If he's still working here, he'll probably be here today. Yeah, you know it's sad when Subway moves out of your mall. And like he says in the documentary, when people are moving out, it's hard to get people to move in. So they used to have a Kmart down at the end of this hall. Here we've got a mall walker or two. No kiosk even here in the middle. Only thing really happening is this shoe store. Oh man, this is really sad. This really could be the end of the mall pretty soon if it's like this. So one of the funny things was I mentioned that there was a jewelry store. We'll see if we can find it. But the jewelry store at the end, he's basically saying he's going to move out of the mall as well. As much as he loves being there, you don't hardly get any business. Maybe on the weekends a little bit, but he said some days he would only make $16 or $20 for the whole day. So when he's moving out, he brings his guitar in, his electric guitar and his amplifier, and he plugs it all in and plays metal. It's a great documentary. Like I said, there's no like high conflict other than the fact that it's just, you know, the world that we used to know is empty, you know. Hibbett Sports, that was still open in the documentary, so it's still open now. So it has a couple of stores selling some Air Jordans and Braves hats. But look around, they do keep the mall clean. Mike does his job. So right here, he goes into that wall, and like I said, that was the Kmart. So you can't even blame the malls because there's no Kmarts left. There's no JC Penney's really. What few are left, they're going to be gone soon, if there are any left. I think there's one, maybe, New Jersey or something. But he goes in there and it's full-size gigantic store, and he's saying even then that they're hoping somebody's gonna move in and take over that space, but obviously they haven't. God, if you would have told me when I was a kid that someday all the malls would be empty and that nobody wanted to come to them and that there were no more Kmarts, I would never have believed you. That's the world we're living in. Someday we're not even going to have these rides because parents won't want their kids to touch other people's belongings or something that someone else has sat on, so everybody will have to have their own. Stuart Little! Michael J. Fox. I think he was Stuart Little, right? He just talked to us. Some sort of roller coaster. Too bad if the mall's dying, they just don't put some old photos of the heyday of the mall up on the walls or something. Man, I think we've only seen about 4 stores that were even open. Deb and Company's open, which they didn't show them really in the documentary, so no stories about them for you. But it's interesting if you watch it because he gets to know, even though, you know, there's really nobody in here. Like today, literally nobody in here. He's always got hope, and he has a lot of those regular mall walkers, and they come in here and tell him jokes and stuff, so it's its own little community. That's crazy. Even the stores that have stuff in them, a lot of them aren't even open. Bath and Body Works, there's a woman in the documentary that said, if Belk's and Bath and Body Works go out of business, I'm out of here. So both of them are still here, so God willing, she's still alive and still coming here. So we haven't made it down to the other end of the mall yet. Oh, there it is. That was over here was the jewelry shop, I believe. The jewelry doctor. And he's the one. Okay, this one is just now opening. Little store here. But yeah, I believe this was, because I was going to match it up from the outside, this was the old jewelry store, the jewelry doctor, where he's in there playing that guitar. So imagine that. He's got an amplifier, the door's open, and an electric guitar just in there shredding. But this was my favorite part of going to the mall when I was a kid. All the brickwork and the fountains that you could toss coins in. So to see that they have one here, I love that. Over here they have a day spa place. It looks like the hair salon that they feature in the documentary, it looks like that's gone too. Out of business. This one's not open. Also, the fun thing about going to the mall as a kid, the little 25-cent machines. I love those kind of things. Here they have a ton of them, like the way they did when I was a kid. You had so many options. We never had that many options, but all these seating places that nobody is taking advantage of. Nothing. Bridal gowns, by appointment only, of course, so they don't even want to keep an employee in. I think down here might have been where, yeah, I think that wall, I think over there was kind of where Penny's was. Wonder what this was for, this little walk down area. Oh, I think back there's where the security area is. That's where they used to show Mike walking back into. So if we see him, he'll probably be coming out of there at some point. Yeah, for sure you would think that something that was featured on Netflix might have got a little bit of a boost, but this place is kind of stuck in time. He does say if the mall shuts down, that he'd probably just go work at another mall, because the guy that owns this mall owns like 30 malls. But I hope that we get to run into Mike, because he used to own a zoo and went from owning and running his own zoo to working here. I mean, the mall's in good shape itself. It's clean, it's nice, just no stores. That is sad. I keep saying it, but I never in my life thought that we would ever see a day where the shopping malls were empty. I mean, since we've been here, we've seen maybe 5 people that work here and 7 mall walkers. That's crazy. And this was the hub of it all. When they used to have meet and greets and fashion shows and all that stuff, they would have had it right here. Now they barely even have a claw game. It's nice they have it. It's nice that they have it for the people that come here. So I think this was the Subway at the time of the documentary, and they closed. So, man. Disheartening, huh? When your coffee shops aren't open, you know your mall's in trouble. Oh, this was it. I believe this was the hair salon place. Now it says the Blend Coffee House, so that's gone as well, like I said. And that, I believe, it came out 3 years ago, so they must have filmed it 4 years ago. Hoping to find him over here at his office, but nobody's here. And right over here by what used to be Robin's Nest, those are the infamous bathrooms they show in the documentary, and where he's saying that for some reason somebody a couple of days before had went in the men's room and just crapped right on the ground, like right in the center of the floor. So now they don't even keep the bathrooms open. So you can basically come here to one department store, which is Belk's. You can go to Bath and Body Works. You can get your nails done here. You can buy some shoes. Not a whole lot else. Oh, that store that we just saw the woman opening, that's a baby clothing store called Reveal, and they have this right on the outside in the display case. Yeah, I just found where the Army Recruiting Center was. We saw that sign outside. It used to be right here, because you can see the Marines and Navy signs inside still. Well, I've kind of been all over this place, and I don't think we're gonna get to meet Mike today. That's too bad. I'm not sure where he's from. He has kind of an accent, almost Australian accent, so if you watch the documentary, I think you'll like him. He just seems like a good guy. He's just trying to keep this place alive, and you need people like that. You need people that have a passion and take pride in what they do, and he's that guy. So I'm bummed we didn't get to meet him today. I do kind of wonder who's in charge though right now, because I've walked around this place for about 45 minutes and haven't seen any security or anything. So that means this was our old entrance to the side of the mall that we would have the Kmart at the time. So that white section above, that probably would have been the automotive center, the greenhouses, and then the Kmart sign would have been right up there. Staying alive by the skin of its teeth. But I didn't even see the Armed Forces Career Center inside there open any longer, so you can't even come here to enlist in the military. Sad what's happened to this place. It really is. This might be what is in the old JCPenney's building now, because they had that wall blocked off. It's all part of the mall and everything, but it's kind of detached from it from the inside, but it's Dunham Sports. Just taking a cruise around the old mall. Someday they're gonna be gone. I don't think this is something that's ever gonna get reversed, unfortunately. Glad we came over here. The mall entrance is over here, or what says mall entrance. Yep. That's a tiny little entrance. And here's Belk's entrance. I'll show you what's going on out front in the parking lot. I didn't show you yet. It's kind of crazy because out in the parking lot, in the documentary on Netflix, they're actually having a carnival, or you know, basically what this is, and they're talking about how they're hoping it will bring people to the mall because the mall's struggling so much. And it's ironic that I would be here and they're having basically the carnival weekend again this weekend, just like they were in the documentary. And it's a Sunday. They told me that the carnival or festival, whatever this is, wraps up today. So they haven't really had a whole lot of people out here, doesn't look like. I mean, there are some people out here, but not a whole lot. I guess really all they get are their mall walkers and things like that. Hardly anybody playing the games at all. I just saw somebody wearing a mall security shirt walk out of a store in front of me, and it's not him, so it looks like he has the day off. Bummer. So I just talked to security and she said he's actually at a doctor's appointment, so we just picked like the wrong time. He'll be here way later today and I can't stay. But I asked her, I said, how's the mall doing from your perspective? And she said, it's doing better than it was. I said, really? Has traffic like picked up from what it used to be? And she said, oh yeah. She said, we just got this store in right here. She said, a guy is gonna take over that space down there and put a restaurant in. She said that one of the stores down there that we already looked at, she didn't name it, but she said they're gonna expand and they're gonna take over this down here. So even though it looks like it's not doing that well for what we would expect a mall, she actually said it's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty well from what it used to be, so it's the best we can hope for. I'm glad I got to stop and see this place, and maybe if I come back through another day, I will be able to stop and meet Mike then and introduce you guys to him then. Well, my friends, we're gonna call it a day. The mall is struggling, but it is barely hanging on, but it is hanging on. So thank you all for watching from Jasper, Alabama. Have a great night and goodbye.